Okay, so I've been thinking about my Leak Starter build that I'm most likely to go to. Obviously, Showcase and patch notes could change something. But one of the big things for that build is that since I'm using these hollow form images to cast Killing Palm, those technically could be generating power charges. And if they do generate power charges for me, then cool. I'll probably just have like a charged staff or something that I press every once in a while so that I can gain a bunch of extra lightning damage. But what if they don't? If they act as like proxies, so they would generate the power charges for themselves, but also they disappear, so they wouldn't. What do I do then? Right? Because I don't have any power charges coming into me from that hollow form. Is it even worth still using Killing Palm for that? Because I still really like the kind of like, I don't know if any of y'all played For Honor, the Ubisoft, like, I guess it's kind of a fighting game, but there's the Shaolin is one of the classes in that game, and one of their like finishers, they kind of like stand back and send out like images to punch. That's kind of why I wanted to use Killing Palm in the first place, because I used to play Shaolin, and that was really fun. And that looks really cool. But if they're not going to be generating the charges for me, it feels kind of like a waste. So I'll probably end up using Hollow Form for something else, something like a Flicker Strike, maybe? Flicker Strike is also really fun. I just like using it. It's a fun skill. But if the Hollow Forms are using Flicker Strike, then they need power charges. And I would assume that if they don't grant me power charges, so I'm not using Killing Palm, that would mean that they copy my power charges when they are spawned, minus the obvious 1 power charge that is used to spawn 2 additional. I was going to say 3 of them, but 1 might not be the base. So it would be used to spawn 2 additional. Then they would presumably have a copy of the rest of my power charges. So I would need a way to generate the power charges. If I use Flicker Strike so that they can have their extra flickers as well, but even if I don't use Flicker Strike, if I end up going for a completely separate skill, I still need the power charges for the channeling itself of Hollow Form to be able to summon 2 additional images. And there are a lot of ways to do that I was looking through. But I realized I might have missed some, and I'll show you why in a second. First, I'll go through some of the obvious ones. Vol's Protector, chance to gain a power charge on crit, but then I would need some other way to be critting, because, assumedly, if they don't work with Killing Palm, if the images don't work with Killing Palm, then they wouldn't grant me power charges through the power charge on crit either. Okay, so that's off the list. Bunch of other things, I mean, like, technically I could do a Breath of the Mountain, but then I need to be constantly taking cold hits, and I guess that could be kind of useful against, like, certain enemies that deal cold damage. I don't know if there's a way to deal cold damage hits to myself. Obviously, my original idea being Killing Palm here. I will have Perpetual Charge on my Flicker Strikes if I end up using Flicker Strikes. Depending, if I end up doing Killing Palm and it works, then I might not need Perpetual Charge even on the Hollow Form at all. I had the one option, which was Aelith's Chimes, which Aelith's Chimes, when you expend combo, you have a chance to gain a power charge, 25% per combo, and then do that with Culmination. Culmination gains up to 20 combos, so that would mean up to 5 power charges by pressing a skill supported by Culmination and Aelith's Charms. There's the obvious, it's right here, Combat Frenzy to generate Frenzy charges, with Resonance to generate power charges, but that's only on Combat Frenzy, only generates when you freeze, electrocute, or pin, and that won't be happening too often against things like bosses. But there are also some things that are missing from this this page, because they don't directly say charge in like their description. By the way, there's also I could use Guadaliti's Ablation, but then I would need to do some like offering skills of stuff, and it sacrifices some of my life. but I'm periodically granted power. It's something I could think about, but probably not. But there are some things, like I said, that are missing. The most apparent one, I can spell. Don't make fun of me, I can spell, is Profane Ritual. Profane Ritual doesn't show up on the charges page because it doesn't have the tag charges. It has power charge, but for some reason, unless I'm just missing something, which I am not, Profane Ritual doesn't show up on that page. So, Profane Ritual marks a corpse, deals chaos damage over time to nearby enemies, and when the ritual is complete, corpse is consumed, I gain a power charge. So I can throw this in with like a cast on crit setup or something similar to that, and lower the duration a ton, and then as long as there are corpses around me, and I am critting or whatever else I do, I can generate power charges. This can be used, obviously, with Sacrifice. While active, your undead reviving minions can be used in place of corpses by your skills. They revive more slowly. This could be used to stock up, use like a scepter in the offhand, and stock up on power charges before a boss fight, just so you don't have to worry about ramping up. But without having some of my actual, like, I say offhand, but weapon set 2 is what I meant. But without using my weapon set 1, unless I'm missing something, without using my weapon set 1 spirit, without using some of it for reviving minions, this won't really help me out that much. Again, it would help at the beginning of boss fights. And then there's also Lingering Illusion, which is something I'll probably use early, but I imagine will fall off late game. But it is a reservation spirit reservation skill. While active, creates a short-lived illusory copy of yourself whenever you dodge roll. Copy can be damaged by enemies, and if they're destroyed by an enemy, they drop a remnant that grants you a power charge on pickup. They have 1% of your max life, and they have a chance up to 96 to create an additional remnant. So as long as I can get these things to be killed by enemies, this is a decent enough way to generate power charges. Once again, doesn't show up on the charges menu, so that leads me to think there might be other things that I'm missing. Obviously, my first thought is just I'm going to be using Killing Palm to generate power charges. But if these count as proxies, not these are Lingering Illusions, but if the Hollow Form count as proxies, then they won't be giving me power charges, so I'll need some external way to generate power charges, or I will need to use a different skill as my Hollow Form. And this is about that different skill. If I'm using a different skill, what do I generate power charges with? Now, obviously, I will have the Spirit Bells from the Ascension. The Spirit Bells will grant me, I believe I can get the timer down to under a second, so it'll grant me a bell that I can cull with Killing Palm to get a power charge less than a second. I'm actually going to check something real quick. I'm going to check if the Ascendancy has been updated yet. I'll just cut this out if it doesn't. Okay, it hasn't, but I'm actually just going to use this as the background now. But that means that with a high cull chance, I will still... Well, I guess the bells won't matter. The bells I can just cull no matter what when they spawn in with Killing Palm. But with a high cull chance, I could maybe not use Hollow Form during mapping, but then that kind of ruins the idea of the build. So that doesn't really feel good to me. I would want to basically have all of my stuff. End game, I might need to, juggle some stuff here and there early game, but once everything is set up with all of my spirit reservation, all of my triggers, all of it, I would want to basically just be able to hold down Hollow Form when there are enemies nearby. I'd imagine it would slow you down because there's a channeling skill, though they said you can. They're going to change it so you can be able to move while using it. But when there are no enemies nearby, I'll find something else to move around fast, but I would like my Hollow Form to either be sending out Killing Palms, in which case, which I will do if they generate power charges for me, in which case this whole video is useless, or if they don't, I will have my Hollow Forms be sending out Flicker Strikes, in which case I need a way to generate power charges. That's what this whole thing is about. It took me 10 minutes to get there, but, I like rambling, and if you're watching it this far, you like listening to it, or at least you're willing to tolerate listening to it. So, earlier I was talking about the ways to generate power charges, and I think the one I would go for in mapping is Cast on Crit, Profane Ritual. Cast on Crit, Profane Ritual gets super low duration on the Profane Ritual. Which means that maybe not every time I crit. 1 second, let me just open this stuff up. So Cast on Crit gains 1 energy per power of enemies you critically strike. Modified by the percentage of the enemy's ailment threshold the critical strike will deal. It'll gain increased energy with level and increased reservation efficiency with quality. But the more important line, has 10 maximum energy per 0.1 second of base cast time. Base cast time is 1 second, so that would mean that it has 100 energy, which the power of enemies. Generally, that would mean that I would need to get 100 critical hits against normal enemies, unless I am doing a large percentage of their ailment threshold. I cannot test this out. My highest level character that I currently have, because I delete them at the end of every league, is level 52. Or rather, at the start of every new league. So my Fate of the Vol is 52. What it was called, right? Yeah, sure. We'll pretend that's what it was called. Now, obviously, I could use some of these support gems. You know, increased energy from these types of things. Energy retention is a possibility. I don't even know what half of these do. What does Fluke do? Deal less damage. Okay, don't care about Fluke. Don't care about Mysticism. So anyway, balance energy, energy retention to maybe hold on to some of that stuff. But I think that would be good during mapping. There would be plenty of corpses around, and absolute worst case scenario is if I'm ever, like, you know, running out of power charges, I will still have a Killing Palm that I can just tap to... Because Killing Palm generates power charges not on Cull, but on Kill. And I believe it was in 040, they changed it so that it chains on any kill, not just on Cull. So with high enough... not that that really matters too much now that I think about it, but with high enough culling threshold, with the gloves and everything, normal monsters should be able to get 100% Cull. So worst case scenario, slap that on, and then throw, you know, I'll have a Killing Palm. Once I get up to my 100% Cull on normals, if I ever run out of power charges, tap it, pop a pack, got my power charges back. Of course, depending on how much spirit reservation I have and how much spirit I get from gear, I could get some reviving minions and do it with sacrifice. And if there's something I'm missing, I could do it by using a scepter in my weapon swap. But from my little bit of testing, if your minions all come from your scepter and your weapon swap, then when you swap back, they disappear. Do not leave corpses, they just disappear. So that would have to be one of those things where it's like, maybe there's a way to make it so that while casting my skills, my, like, Cast on Crit Profane Ritual is done with my offhand. So when it tries to cast on crit, it quickly swaps over to my offhand and then uses my reviving minions. I don't know. I'll have to figure all that out later on. And then, of course, Lingering Illusion, I will probably just slap on there, at least early, because that will give me some remnants into power charges. I will not be doing any of the Frenzy Charge stuff. I think that power charges are easier to generate with the Profane Ritual stuff than any, like, Combat Frenzy plus Resonance would be. We'll have to see. I believe you get 100 spirit from the campaign. So that's this 100 spirit right here. With quality, I can get that down to 90, I believe. Actually, I don't remember exactly. No, okay, it wouldn't. Increase reservation efficiency. Right, because of math. But I can get a little bit less. So I'd have to get spirit on gear to get reviving minions, but then I wouldn't be able to do any other spirit stuff. Which, one thing is that if I do end up going for some minions, I can have the cast on crit to cast my Profane Ritual on minions. And Profane Ritual consumes the corpse. So supposedly, seemingly, with Profane Ritual consuming the corpse and Sacrifice making it consume a minion, I could then also use Cast on Minion Death. Then I could trigger some socketed spells off that. It is only a 30 spirit, so that wouldn't be too tough to slot in. But this video is not about that. This is supposed to be about how to generate power charges. And I think it's going to be Profane Ritual. If, you know, Killing Palm doesn't just work. And I will still have the Killing Palm for the bells, because like I said, I can get the bells to spawn in less than a second. And each bell that spawns, I can cull for a power charge. Or multiple power charges, depending on what I support Killing Palm with. We'll have to see. Somehow I managed to talk for 17 minutes about Profane Ritual, even though only like 3 minutes of the video is about it. But again, the main point of this video is there might be things I'm missing out on. And if you care and know, you've probably already commented it, because you're not going to listen to me talk for 17 minutes just to hope that you don't have to comment, right? Like, if you want to comment and be like, actually, here's another way to generate power charges, you've already done that. If you haven't, I mean, please do, because I would like something that works on both bosses and during clearing. And I don't really like the idea of having to do Profane Ritual and Sacrifice just to and summon some. That seems like a lot of spirit and a lot of annoyance. That might be the Aelith's Chimes thing. I think it'll probably be cast on crit Profane Ritual for mapping Aelith's Chimes, just to help me out during bosses where I can get some extra. Who knows? Not me, that's for sure. I haven't done any power charge stuff in Endgame and PoE 2 yet. I haven't done much PoE 2 Endgame. We'll see. Tell me your power charge stuff. Also, if you're a GGG employee watching this, send me a message somewhere. I'm sure you can find it out. You're all smart people. And show me the monk early, please? Nah, you won't. But that'd be cool, right? I mean, great work on everything so far. But, like, I can keep a secret. Or, like, don't show it to me. Because that's probably, like, some shit you're not allowed to do. I was gonna say, tell me the date it comes out. Fuck, I don't know. I'm just saying words now. It's not like I've got, like, oh, this video needs to be 19 minutes and 13 seconds long. That's why no. I just haven't pressed the stop recording button yet. So I'm trying to, like, fill the space as if I need to. I can stop this video whenever I want to. I mean, there's, like, there's other stuff I could talk about to try and find out more stuff about power charges, but I don't need to. The whole point of this was just to, like, basically say Profane Ritual is a possibility, and also maybe Aelith's Chimes, but that's it. That's the whole point of this video. It's not like there's anything more to